For today's shave, I'm using Haslinger Schafmilch, coming right up. Hey guys, welcome to the Lather Hog channel, where we talk about all things wet shaving. I'm your host John, and welcome to Euro Soap Week Part 4. Now the soap I'm using today hails from Germany, and that is none other than Haslinger Schafmilch. So a little background on this soap. It utilizes sheep's milk as well as lanolin. I did mention it's a soap that comes from Germany, and this one's often recommended as a budget-friendly version of Mitchell's Wool Fat. It comes in a small puck, and I actually graded it down into this small Pyrex bowl. I've had this for quite a while now, and actually that's what I'll be spending most of my time talking about today, is that this is one of my oldest shave soaps, and I'll talk about kind of how I got into shave soaps in general on my wet shaving journey. I'm not sure how many shaves are left in this, even though it looks like, not that much, if you can see there, but it's a fairly hard soap. I use a cheese grater to, shred it up and then press it back into the shape of this bowl. We'll get more into the details about Haslinger Schafmilch, but let me show you what else we're going to use today. First up for my razor, we're going with the West Coast Shaving Stainless Steel Venice. And this razor was designed for WCS by Charcoal Goods, and the head is about the equivalent of a level 1 for Charcoal Goods. Next up for my brush is one from Milton at Turn and Shave. And this one, what we had as inspiration was the Ever Ready 200. Although, the swirls here has its own flair. I also had someone say that this looked a little bit like milk poured into a cup of tea. I can see that as well. And I think for the knot, I put in a TDR version 1 or 2, something on the older side. It's got super jelly tips, so you can kind of see it clumping there. I've had it soaking for a little bit. Very soft, also with great backbone. And lastly, to keep things in Europe for the software, we're going with Proraso Red, a great kind of sandalwood barbershop type aftershave splash. A lot of people used it, a lot of people love it, myself included. Alright, so taking a look at the knot here, I went for about a 40-second load. It's a very solid soap, as I mentioned before, so I want to make sure I pick up enough. Also, it's been a while since I used this Haslinger, even though I put some, a good dent into it. So I'm really looking forward to today's shave. So already I can see this is going on thick, so we'll be sure to add plenty of water. And it's kind of funny, just all the different uses of lather I've added as far as my kind of shaving routine. So after loading the brush, I'm using that proto lather, I guess, as a pre-shave kind of. And then I'll also use the leftover lather at the end of the shave and let that just, apply to the face and let it sit there as I clean up and hopefully get some post-shave benefits from that. Yeah, so when I first got into shave soaps, and that was after about at least a year, maybe a year and a half of just using the C.O. Bigelow cream, which really is just a rebranded Proraso green cream, I started branching out into the world of shave soaps. So this is the time before I discovered wet shaving on YouTube, so my main source of information was the Badger and Blade forum. And every community really, Badger Blade Now, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, what have you, each community has its own favorites. And there are always a few that are suggested when you're diving in, if you're budget conscious. I would say the timing of this was probably around 2014 or 2015. So there were artisan soaps, but it was very much at the beginning of that boom. I don't quite remember how much the puck of Haslinger was. I think it was $10 or less. And as I mentioned before, it was often suggested as a cheaper version of Mitchell's Wool Fat, which just seemed, you can get the refill puck for I think around 16 bucks, or if you get the ceramic jar, that's closer to 30. And having not used any shaving soaps before, I wasn't about to jump in at the $30 price point. So I got the Haslinger. I think I tried some Razor Rock soaps. I remember picking up Mutter Fokker. Also got some Cella, which actually gave me a little bit of irritation, even though I really liked that cherry / marzipan scent. And obviously by today's video, you can see I still have the Haslinger. And I think it just doesn't see more use because this is pretty much an unscented soap. The closest thing, I have no scent notes to share with you, but the closest thing that it smells like is basically Dove, body bar. It's clean, it's inoffensive, it just smells like a clean soap. One other thing I did want to mention is I do have, this is again from that 2014, 2015 time. There are posts and just buzz that this got reformulated sometime last year in 2019, and I haven't, given that I have the old puck, I didn't buy the new one, so I can't confirm or deny that, but just know that there is some chatter that there was a reformulation. Alright, so here we go with the first pass. It's funny to see trends over the years. So lanolin, I feel like you can, find lanolin in many / most American artisan soaps. But at the time, other than Mitchell's Wool Fat, you didn't really find lanolin nearly as often as you do nowadays. Lanolin is one of those ingredients that a lot of people have an allergy to. I think now more than ever, with all the different fats and butters that are used, I think it is really important for consumers to pay attention to ingredient lists. I have, since that time, tried a puck of Mitchell's Wool Fat, and it really is very similar. I didn't have too much problems. It's one that can be tricky to lather, but performance was pretty similar, at least for me. And both the Haslinger Schafmilch and Mitchell's, both are basically unscented soaps. Alright, well, first pass is done already. I'm going to rinse off and we'll go into pass number 2. Also do want to note that while this version of Haslinger has the sheep's milk and the lanolin, not all of Haslinger soaps have that. In fact, they have a couple different scents. They're all pretty mild. Off the top of my head, I forget what the scent offerings are, but I do believe that this one is the only one with the sheep's milk and lanolin. But in general, those soaps are all really budget friendly. It's just the pucks, so you gotta provide your own container if you need a container. This is a very creamy lather. And this can certainly hang with the soaps that we're using now in 2020. Alright, so you can see I've rinsed off the excess lather that we had just applied to the face as I tidied up the shaving gear. Now, one thing about unscented soaps, or nearly unscented soaps, is that you can really pair it with whatever aftershave, whatever fragrance you want afterwards. So when I go with something I really enjoy, and that's the Proraso Red, that has that sandalwood barbershop kind of vibe. Proraso, of course, comes from Italy. So this kind of overlaps with my question for you today. So let me know in the comments below, do you use unscented soaps? And if so, what are your reasons? Alright, so to finish up the shave, this revisitation of Haslinger Schafmilch was a really nice trip down memory lane. Kind of brought me back to a simpler time. And the fact that this was kind of an unscented soap really hits home that idea of simplicity. So, I don't know, it's giving me some food for thought. I'll probably have to digest that a little bit. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's shave. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.